Basic Parasitology. Strongyloides stercoralis. Strongyloides stercoralis is a human pathogenic parasitic nematode or roundworm causing the disease strongyloidiasis. Strongyloides stercoralis is classified as soil-transmitted helminth, that the primary mode of infection is through contact with soil that is contaminated with free-living larvae. Epidemiology. Strongyloides stercoralis is found worldwide. Strongyloides is known to exist on all continents except for Antarctica, but it is most common in the tropics, subtropics, and in warm temperate regions. The estimated strongyloidiasis prevalence was 8.1% in 2017, which corresponds to 613.9 million people infected with strongyloides. Referring to the WHO regions, the highest number of infected people live in the Southeast Asian region or SEAR. The increasing rate of infection is caused by several reasons as a risk factor for strongyloidiasis. Risk factors: regular contact with soil, poor personal hygiene, insufficient drinking water supply, unsatisfactory sanitary, lack of knowledge about the disease in high-risk populations. Life cycle of Strongyloides stercoralis. The life cycle is unique due to its potential for auto-infection and multiplication within the infected host. The parasite shows two distinct life cycles, one within the human body and other free living in the soil. The life cycle of this parasite begins with the rhabditiform released from the infected host. Rhabditiform larvae become an adult free-living male or female. They produce eggs. Larvae hatch from the eggs. Rhabditiform become filariform larvae. Then, the larvae infect humans and become filariform larvae. Larvae develop into adults and produce eggs. Auto-infection can occur in the same host. In the free-living cycle, rhabditiform larvae are passed in the stool of an infected definitive host, develop into either infective filariform larvae, direct development, or free-living adult males and females that mate and produce eggs, from which rhabditiform larvae hatch and eventually become infective filariform larvae. The filariform larvae penetrate the human host skin to initiate the parasitic cycle. This second generation of filariform larvae cannot mature into free-living adults and must find a new host to continue the life cycle. Parasitic cycle. Filariform larvae in contaminated soil penetrate human skin when skin contacts soil and migrate to the small intestine. It has been thought that the L3 larvae migrate via the bloodstream and lymphatic to the lungs, where they are eventually coughed up and swallowed. However, L3 larvae appear capable of migrating to the intestine via alternate routes, for example, through abdominal viscera or connective tissue. In the small intestine, the larvae molt twice and become adult female worms. The females live embedded in the submucosa of the small intestine and produce eggs via parthenogenesis, or parasitic males do not exist, which yield rhabditiform larvae. The rhabditiform larva can either be passed in the stool or can cause auto-infection. Clinical manifestations of strongyloidiasis. Symptomatic infections typically manifest in gastrointestinal, pulmonary, and dermatologic systems. The most common complaints are the following: abdominal, stomachache, bloating, and heartburn, intermittent episodes of diarrhea and constipation, nausea and loss of appetite, respiratory, dry cough, throat irritation, skin, an itchy red rash that occurs where the worm entered the skin. Recurrent raised red rash typically along the thighs and buttocks. Clinical manifestations of strongyloidiasis. Hyperinfection syndrome and disseminated strongyloidiasis can lead to severe life-threatening forms. It occurs commonly in immunocompromised persons or people who are on corticosteroids or immunosuppressive therapies.